Hey guys, Bailey here from Bailey Rawson Productions. Hope you're having a good day or night wherever you are. Today I'm going to be doing a What's on my MacBook Pro video for March 2020. As you may know, I've owned my trusty 2015 MacBook Pro 13-inch for 5 years, and I use it as my daily driver for lots of things such as studying, working, and general web browsing, but I also use it for my two favorite things, editing and graphic designing, in which this machine has done an excellent job on doing these things for all these years. Before I talk about what's on my MacBook Pro, I'll be talking about the specific model I have and the specs on this machine. My MacBook Pro, as I mentioned before, is the 2015 13-inch model with the Retina screen and the Force Touch trackpad. The computer cost about 2,200 Australian dollars and I purchased it new back in December 2015. The computer has a 2.7 GHz dual-core Intel i5 Broadwell processor with 8GB RAM and 256 GB of internal SSD storage, in which I also use a 1TB Seagate external hard drive to preserve space, and the computer also has Intel RS 6100 graphics. These specs are decent, and while the specs were really good when I first bought the computer, I feel like now I could do with a bit of an upgrade with at least 16GB RAM, a quad-core processor and a larger SSD. I also nowadays have it plugged into an external monitor, which is actually a 21-inch Sphere TV, which we had in our old kitchen in our house in the top pantry. But when we demolished the old kitchen in favour of renovating the entire room and installing a brand new kitchen, since we hardly ever used it as a TV, I found a spare HDMI cable and decided to use it as a 1080p monitor for my editing programs, which actually works very, very well. And it made me glad that I made myself a free monitor pretty much. This What's on my Mac video will be slightly different to what other YouTubers do, as aside from showing off my dock and launchpad, I'll be showing off other aspects on the computer. Starting off with the ports, on the left side we have the MagSafe 2 port for charging, two Thunderbolt 2 ports which I've never ever have used during my time of owning this machine, a USB 3.0 port which I commonly plug my hard drive into, and a 3.5mm headphone jack which I used to plug my Logitech speakers into. On the other side, we have another USB 3.0 port, a HDMI port, which I obviously used to plug into my monitor, and lastly we have the SDXC card slot, which I sometimes used to look at photos I've taken with cameras and use SD cards for my photography course. When we open up the computer, we are greeted with the 13.3-inch Retina display, which has a resolution of 2560 by 1600. And we also have the black chiclet style backlit keyboard in which the down button has actually fallen off the computer since I bought it. It was kind of annoying to me at first, but now it's not a huge deal for me. Booting the computer up, we are greeted with my desktop background on my main screen, which is the macOS 10.6 Snow Leopard background. Even though I never had any experience using Snow Leopard since back in 2009, I was only 6 years old and we used Windows 7 XP and all of that. I really loved the background, as in my opinion it is really soft and calming, and my mates and I really like the pink colour in it. The background, my external monitor, is just currently the Bailey Rawson Productions vanity card. Getting into the dock now, which is where I keep most of my apps that I use regularly, we have the Finder, Siri, which I never use as I absolutely hate Siri. Then we have Google Chrome, which has been my trusty web browser for many years, and I use it for everything including YouTube browsing. We also have the calendar, which I hardly ever use as I mostly check my calendar through the Google Calendar on my phone or with my Google Home Mini. Hey Google.
I can't reach the internet right now. Check your modem or router connections and try again.
Next up, we have 3 Adobe Creative Cloud Suite applications, which includes Premiere Pro. I love Premiere Pro. Premiere Pro is my favourite video editing app of all time. I use it for literally editing, such as making YouTube videos, edits, and other sorts of stuff. Premiere Pro has been a really amazing program for me, and I'll be using it for many years to come. Anyway, back into the video. Next up, we have Adobe Photoshop and Lightroom, which I use to edit photos for my photography course. Following that, we have Discord. While I don't play any video games at all anymore, I use Discord to chat with my friends a lot. Then we have iMessage, FaceTime, the Photos app, and then we have the Apple TV app, which I've never actually used the Apple TV app before, as I'm not planning on getting an Apple TV Plus subscription anytime soon. After that, we have Spotify, which is my favourite music streaming service. I've tried Apple Music before because my friend tried to convince me into it, and I just didn't really like it all that much, since most of it you have to pay for, I believe. I use Spotify to play music all the time in all sorts of situations. whether I have my mates over, my family over, if I'm cleaning my room, or just even jamming to the tunes. Next up we have Ribbit, which is a simple photoing program which I use to create some of my thumbnails and other graphic designs that I've made. After that we have the App Store, System Preferences, Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, Excel and Outlook, my Downloads folder, and then the Trash Can, which is where my mates' playlists belong. Going into the Launchpad now, most of these apps are on my dock already, so I'm not going to get into too much details about the apps I already explained before. We have Google Chrome, Calendar, the Apple TV app, Notes, the Find My app, which I don't really think is necessary on a Mac to be honest. After that we have Photo Booth, which I used all the time when I was younger, even on other people's Macs, in which I made cringy photos and videos on there all the time. Ending that stuff, next up we have Preview, and then we have Voice Memos. While I never used it on a Mac, I used to use it all the time on my dad's old iPhone 4 when I was around 7 years old. And I made some very cringy voiceovers. I used to sing a lot of covers of songs and even fanfares from famous movie logos on there. Next up we have the Calculator, Siri, Mission Control, App Store, and then we have the Android File Transfer app, which I used to import photos and videos from my mum's Samsung Galaxy A20, which I absolutely hate. That's my mum's shitty Samsung A20, but about to do something with it. After that we have Caffeine, which I like Caffeine as it stops my Mac from going to sleep while I'm exporting a video. And then we have Clear My Mac X, Hotspot Shield VPN, which I used a lot in high school to access some blocked websites when I was doing research projects and for watching YouTube videos in class. Next up we have a collection of folders. The first folder being the Adobe folder, which contains the entire Adobe Creative Cloud suite. After that, the Microsoft Office folder, which contains all 5 Microsoft Office 2019 apps. We then have the iLife folder, which contains iMovie. iMovie was one of my first editing programs after Windows Movie Maker. I used iMovie to make some of my earliest YouTube videos, such as my unboxings and reviews, some short films, and then I started making my very first few montages with it, such as my Steve Jobs video and my West Beach Caravan Park video, all made in 2016. I'm not going to show you all these edits just yet because I was a terrible editor back then. After that we have GarageBand and the Photos app. After that we have the social networking folder, which just contains iMessage, Discord and FaceTime. Nothing too special here. We then have the music folder, which contains Spotify and the music app. And then we have the iWork folder after that, which contains numbers, pages and keyboard, in which I use none of these apps as I use Microsoft Office instead. After that, we have a folder called Shit That I Don't Need, which contains apps that I don't really use, such as Safari, Bootcamp, and Time Machine, and other apps I won't explain. After that, we have Audacity, QuickTime Player, OBS, Google Earth Pro, and we have Octagon, which was a game that I used to play a lot in high school. And then after that we have Ribbit, and then finally VirtualBox, which a lot of you may know VirtualBox is. It's a virtual PC app. I used to have a lot of operating systems on there like Windows Vista, Windows 7, Windows 2000, but I had to get rid of most of those operating systems so I could free up my hard drive. However, recently I downloaded Windows XP and started testing it out on here. I might make a video on that eventually. Anyway guys, that is it. That is what's on my MacBook Pro. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I plan to make some more tech related videos soon, including a what's on my iPhone 8 Plus video. And I've also got some more edits coming out soon, such as Adultscapes 2, which will be filmed in the night time as opposed to daytime. And I'm also might be doing time lapses of the Adelaide Fringe in that video too, which is currently on. Lots of people around, so we really got a little opportunity. Please leave a like, comment and subscribe if you can soon. This is Bailey Wilson, signing out.